Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis.
Glad to have you here with us. I'm Tim Pham. So the January gloom continues as we head into this last week of the month. So we want to head outside and check in with a man who knows if things will change.
That's right. Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo is in our outdoor weather center. So Jeremy, when can we get rid of some of this fog and this clouds and see a little bit of sunshine?
Maybe later this week.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to try. Right now it's still a low-hanging cloud cover and a little bit of what's trying to be fog precipitating out here on the South Hill. Looks like a couple of snow flurries coming down, but if you see that, that's the moisture in the low levels of our atmosphere. It's even showing up there at the airport, 28 degrees, 28 in Coeur d'Alene and 28 there in Sandpoint as well with a similar story. We don't have a storm moving through to give us what it would take to get a little bit of snow. So this is actually just that moisture in the low level of the atmosphere, the fog. Those water droplets will keep bumping into each other. One of them freezes and then other ones stick to it, and it keeps happening until it forms a little snowflake, and then that falls out of the low levels of the atmosphere. Kind of interesting, but that's basically what's going on around us right now. Visibility down to a half mile at the airport, but that seems to be the low spot. Elsewhere, it's just lower than normal visibility. For the most part, it's a gloomy weather pattern. We're going to hang on to gloom throughout the day today. We're going to try to clear it out. We've got our low-hanging cloud cover moving north, our overtopping clouds moving south, and that's basically how we stay heading into tomorrow as well. So what do we see? Well, we see a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of fog, and later this afternoon, a gloom that's going to keep temperatures in the low 30s. So basically, yesterday, all over again, and we're doing it again tomorrow as well.
I would say this process has reopened wounds, but in all honesty, the wounds haven't even closed yet. This process is not reopening them, it's making them deeper and deeper.
Almost 5 years after the Freeman High School shooting, victims are sharing their stories in court. Today, more people will take to the stand to talk about their experiences. Yesterday, we heard from students, parents, counselors, and teachers who were there that day. Among the dozens of statements read in court was the wife of Freeman High School Superintendent Randy Russell. In a statement, she says Russell was holding it together for the staff, the students, and the entire community. But over time, he started struggling with panic attacks. Shauna told the judge as time went on, it became more difficult for Russell to go to work.
It just wasn't a positive environment, and he tried to make it positive for every single student, parent, community member, staff member, and dealing with this day in and day out for the last 4 years has taken its toll on him. He's not the same person he was before that. We worked through everything together.
Shauna told the judge she hopes her family and the Freeman community can find closure when the shooter is finally sentenced. Now, we also heard from the janitor who disarmed the shooter and pinned him to the ground until deputies were able to arrive. Nicole Hernandez is live this morning at the Spokane County Courthouse with more on his experience from that day. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning. So many of the people in court yesterday said that day changed their lives. Most of the people who made statements yesterday ended those statements saying Freeman strong. The shooter was there in court yesterday hearing all of these statements. He stared down at the table in front of him as victims read them. One of the most memorable testimonies came from the Freeman custodian. He disarmed the shooter and pinned him to the ground until police arrived that day.
Upon entering the hallway, I immediately come eye to eye with Caleb Sharp. Caleb just stares at me. I again immediately point my Leatherman at Caleb Sharp and say, "Get on the effing ground right now."
Now, throughout yesterday's testimony, nearly every victim asked the judge to give the shooter the maximum sentence.
I ask for the maximum sentence to be handed down. At least that would make a small bit of justice and peace of mind for those families who were impacted the most and for our entire community.
Now, victims will continue giving their statements today, and that will continue happening through Thursday of this week. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
It has been a long process to get to the victim impact statements. The defense has been attempting to draw out the trial for even longer. Late last year, the defense attorneys tried to assert an insanity defense, but it was denied by the judge. The defense filed a new motion to reconsider and also tried to delay the trial, saying they needed more time to prepare. COVID precautions also slowed down the progress of the case. The suspect is facing 1 charge of first-degree murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, and 48 counts of second-degree assault. The now almost 20-year-old will be tried as an adult and faces up to life in prison. So we will continue to hear from Freeman community members today. KREM 2 will be in the courtroom covering every moment. If you would like to know more about the latest developments in the trial or to read more about the victim impact statements, you can text us the word Freeman to the number 509-448-2000.
In Coeur d'Alene, police officers shot a man near Dalton Elementary School. Now, this situation began yesterday afternoon when deputies got reports of an armed suicidal man in a house next to the school. The school then went on lockdown. Then around 5 p.m., officers say the man, quote, brandished an AR-15 style rifle. That's when law enforcement started shooting. Now, police aren't saying just how many officers shot at the man, only that members of the sheriff's office and police department were involved. That man was taken to the hospital. However, his name and condition have not yet been released.
A few hours before the police shooting in Coeur d'Alene, police in Spokane shot and killed a man. Police say he was holding a baby at knife point. Spokane police say they received a call from a woman yesterday afternoon claiming her baby was dead. When officers arrived at the house, police say the man was holding a knife to an infant during that incident. 2 officers shot the suspect. After the shooting, police provided first aid and took the suspect to a hospital where he later died. The baby involved in the incident was uninjured. An investigation into this incident is underway. The time now is just about 6:06. It is time for your morning rush. More news in less time.
An 18-year-old is dead after deputies say a 17-year-old crashed their car. Deputies responded to a crash near East 16th Avenue in Spokane Valley. Investigators say the teen was speeding, did not stop at an intersection, flipped and hit a tree. The driver is now in the Spokane County Jail, charged with vehicular homicide and vehicular assault. A Newport police officer has been arrested and fired after allegations of sexual abuse towards kids. Lopez was a school resource officer at the Newport Unified School District. Newport police say they have informed the school district of the allegations, which were unrelated to his former position as a police officer.
Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson filed a lawsuit against Google. He's arguing the company secretly tracks consumers, their location, even after they've turned it off. Location tracking in their location tracking settings. So claims Google uses a number of deceptive and unfair practices to get your consent to be tracked, making it nearly impossible to stop Google from collecting your location data. Happening today, Senator Maria Cantwell is meeting with restaurant owners from across our state this morning. Cantwell will host a virtual roundtable to talk about the impact of COVID-19's pandemic and the need for additional relief after the Omicron surge. She will speak with Tavalada's owner Ethan Stoll and the Swinging Doors owner Lisa Emery. And that's a look at your morning rush.
Washington State hasn't seen a sales tax decrease since the 80s, but a new bill could bring it down by a significant margin.
You may have seen green squares all over social media recently, but you may not know what it actually is. It's a game. So we're going to be talking about a new word game taking over the internet.
And the one thing to know about weather today, well, it's the fog. And the fog is going to stick around. I know it's not as dense as it was yesterday, but basically we're in this gloom all week long.
All right, time now for your wake-up call. Today is National Plan for a Vacation Day. And I can't think of a better thing to do on a Tuesday that's a little dreary than plan some sunny beach vacay.
Think about hot, warm weather.
Yes, absolutely. So this morning, we want to know what vacations you have planned for this year. You can use the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media or text us at 509-448-2000.
Here's a live look outside on this Tuesday. Be amazing today, but first, of course, coffee. Raise your hand if you're pouring an extra cup today.
Yep,
a lot of cups today. We need it. Thanks so much for making us a part of your morning.